Hi everyone. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back friends and family. Today I'll be using again urethane casting resin, and I'll be doing myself a trinket tray. Yes, for me. I think it's always important not to leave yourself out when you're creating things, especially if you're using art as a way to navigate grief or anything else. Um, as you saw before, I had already made up some flowers from the polyurethane resin, which I'll be sticking to the tray, not all of those. I'll also be using um, temporary tattoos. They work really well on resin and a lot of other things actually. If you're doing the eco resin, anything like that, they stick really well to those. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the part A of the polyurethane. And if you watched my last video, the Halloween video that I did, I found out that you can colour the polyurethane resin, even if it does say that it is white. You might sometimes get a paler version of the colour that you're going for, but with the polyurethane resin that I'm using, it goes a little bit yellow translucent. It's not completely white. So I'll be colouring it with my own pigment paste that I've made today. And because it's for myself, I'm going to go pink. And I am going to use the pigment paste in the part A first because it does take some time to make sure that it mixes in well with the polyurethane resin. And you don't have a lot of time. You have under 9 minutes before this uh, resin hardens, cures. So off camera, I made sure that the pigment paste was totally mixed through the resin. I added the part B, and now I'm pouring it into the trinket tray. Very beautiful shimmer. The only thing that I would say it didn't sort of go as I would have liked. On the back of it, it really, really shimmered. But once it touches the mold, the silicon on the other side, it's not quite as vibrant. But I do a top coat in the end. So as you can see, I'm just putting all of that resin into it. It's about 100 ml for these trays. I don't fill them right up to the top. I tend to um, do it a little bit shallower, and that's just personal preference. No reason why I do that. And so I'm just going to put that aside and let that cure. And next I'll be showing you the flowers that I made out of the polyurethane resin. And before I poured them into the mold, as you can see, I made them white. I didn't make them specific colours. I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I've decided to use these acrylic markers, the acrylic paint markers that I got from Temu. Um, didn't have a lot of high hopes for these markers, to be honest, and I got them in a pack of 36, and they weren't very expensive at all. But I was pleasantly surprised. The range of colours is really that there's a big range of different colours, especially being 36 of them. But the colour of them and the vibrancy of them, I was very, very impressed with. So um, kudos to Temu for that. Um, and so, as you can see, I've got quite a few flowers. I don't use them all on the tray, and that will be coming up soon. I do use, I think, two, and I'll be putting down some temporary tattoos, as you can see here. I got these temporary tattoos from Easy Tattoo. I think that's what they were called. I will link them down in the description box below if you're interested. They are an Australian company, and so if you would like to uh, see what they've got, and they've got a huge, huge range, especially, with Christmas and everything coming up. It's nice just to have a little bit of something extra. So I'm just putting these temporary tattoos on. As you can see, I put them on face down. You've got to remember that when, especially if you're doing these tattoos yourself. So if you print them off your computer, I have done that before, and I've also made the mistake of not mirroring my words. So they really obviously need to go, the other way for you to be able to read them. So again, if you're doing them yourself, just keep that in mind. But if you get these quotes, they're normally pretty good. I have opened a packet and they haven't done it properly. And that's really unusual for a big company that only does temporary tattoos, but it has happened. We're all human and we make mistakes, so um, just keep that in mind. So coming up in the next frame, you'll see that I'm going to be using some UV resin, some coloured UV resin. I've spoken about these coloured UV resins before. They are only about, I think, 10 or 20 mil. I can't actually remember, I'm sorry, but they do go a long way. What I'm going to be doing here is just adding a bit of sparkle, a bit of colour, a bit of something something to the leaves here, and you'll see that I sort of muck around with it a little bit, and also put one of the larger flowers in so that I don't bother wasting the coloured UV resin and putting it where underneath the flowers that I'm going to be putting on there. So I'm just going to let you have a little sticky beak at this for a little bit, and I'll put some music on. I'm back, and as you can see, I've painted the flowers. They look great, and I'm going to glue the flower into the central part of where I've stem those branches out from. What I want to do here is to secure the flower down first. I do add an extra one, and the reason why I want to do that now is I don't want to go too much further with colouring in the leaves before I know where these flowers are going to go. So I'm just using a small file just to roughen up the back of that flower. Obviously didn't paint the back, didn't need to. You're not going to see it. So, but just going the extra mile and making sure that you've got a good grip to the from the flower to the flat tray, because smooth shiny on smooth shiny, you might find later on that your flower pops off. So this is just going to give it a little extra grip. So I'm using this tiny super glue that I love to talk about, but we're going to leave it there, and I'm going to glue that straight down onto the tray. I am going to be adding quite a few more elements to this tray. I'm just gonna go for it because I'm keeping this one. So I will, I'm just gonna be practicing a little bit for the Christmas stuff that I'm going to be doing, and uh, decorating this, and having a bit of a practice run before I start those Christmas decorations. So I will let you see how I go through this process, and I'll put some music on and I'll be back. Okay, let's have a chat. This is the point in the video where I have a little discussion about my journey with navigating the grief that I've been going through for over 3 years now. My husband passed away at 47 years old. And not in my last video, because that was a Halloween video, but the video before that I touched on um, going through his birthday. Every birthday is going to be like that, I think, for me. I don't know how anybody else gets through those, milestones or those celebrations that you had with your loved one that has passed. I'd really love to hear from anybody if you're going through something similar. It doesn't have to be a husband, partner, wife, or anything like that. It could be, your parent or sibling or children. So many people go through grief in life, and sometimes we don't talk about it. Sometimes it's just, I think, too hard sometimes to talk about. It's taken me a long time to be able to discuss Andy with even the kids or my parents or my sister, because it's been so hard to just talk about him and him not be here. So getting past his birthday, we are now heading towards Christmas. And although my husband didn't like Christmas all that much, he was a big one for Boxing Day, and he always said Boxing Day was the best because it meant that he could spend the day with me, because on Christmas Day, for me, it was all about everybody else and cooking and making Christmas Day perfect for everybody, and I put a lot of work into it. Not that I regret that at all, but Boxing Day for him was about friends and having leftovers, and my husband and I just used to spend the morning in the spa and then the afternoon with friends and being in the spa and not having to cook or clean or anything like that. It was just about, his presence, my presence, and just being together. So Christmas is coming up, Boxing Day is coming up. It's always going to be hard, but hopefully it won't be as hard this year, particularly because I'm doing these videos and I'm doing a lot of arts and crafts, and these videos are really helping. I don't know how many people are actually watching or who might watch in the future, but if you're going through a rough time, I understand and I'm with you and you're not alone. Okay, back to the video, and you can just see me here doing some outlining of some of the leaves I've done with the green UV resin. Um, I don't know if you watched my last video for Halloween, but I cure the UV resin as I go so that it doesn't get smudged or it doesn't bleed out and spread everywhere. I want it to stay where it is, and if you can see at the top of the screen there, I have been using a handheld UV light just to give it a quick blast so that um, it won't sort of bleed out of the lines. Um, and also there, I don't know whether you saw that I was putting some darker UV resin around the flowers. That was just to do a little bit of shading. We found out with last week's video and doing the skull, I was able to use the UV resin as shading. So I'm completely stoked about that. It just gives that some more dimension without adding and too much to your tray, essentially. Um, I'm now going to add the temporary tattoos, if I can find my words. Um, I didn't make these on my printer. I have done before, um, and I will show you that process one day. And if I can remember to show you those, I've got lots of projects coming up, but hopefully I'll remember to do that and show you how to do that, and where I get my products from. So I've just put the wording down. Um, Love you always is something that my husband and I always said to each other. Well, more so me. The always part, my husband was, I just love you, babe. So you'll see me putting on a few more elements coming up soon with the UV resin. I'm just going to go all out here. I'm just going to go and do what I like, what I want, practice a little bit for Christmas coming up, and add elements that I think are going to look really pretty. Maybe I overdid it just slightly. Maybe some of it could have been left off, but I think the end result speaks for itself. It's really quite pretty, and it does the trick, because this is where I lay my renewal vow wedding ring my husband brought me, and the one I bought for him. This is where I put that when when I'm using creams or anything like that, washing dishes, whatever. Um, and it keeps it safe, and I know where they are at all the time. So, and you'll see that at the end of the video. I'll do some photos and you'll be able to see that. So we're coming to the end of the video now, and if you're still here, thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to watch my creations and to be with me. I really appreciate you all. To all my new subscribers, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions at all for me, just pop them down in the comments below. I'd also like to know if you're going through your own grief, or you know somebody who has, because sometimes it's really hard to know what to say, because sometimes you just don't need to say anything. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. I hope you liked this video, everyone. Thank you again. Bye for now.